Hi friends, I'm Amy and this is A Star Reads, and it is time for another vlog. I'm going to be doing my 24-hour readathon, which I need to do for HRCYED, the hardest reading challenge you'll ever do. And my cousins and I are camping, and they're participating in the readathon with me. Well, mostly. Yeah.
I'm going to do some crafts.
Are you going to do any reading?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So,
Oh yeah.
Will you tell us about what you read if you read anything?
Maybe.
No, that's no.
Because I'm like this close to DNFing it.
We're really trying to convince her to
Yeah.
DNF a book, yeah.
So I'm like, I don't know, but it might be like this close. Or this.
Yeah.
By the time we like start.
Okay, good.
So I'm like debating. Maybe after my coffee, I'll figure it out.
Okay. How you feeling after camping this morning?
Like I'm old as hell.
So you're feeling real good.
Real good.
Oh. Are you excited about reading now?
Oh yeah, I'm excited about reading.
But she's more excited about
Coffee. I'm the first one here and I want some.
The hardest reading challenge you'll ever do is hosted by Stephanie from QWERTY, and it's this year-long challenge where we try to complete these. Well, it's a challenge where we try to complete different challenges within it, and there are so many books that you have to read for it. So one of those is a 24-hour readathon. You're basically supposed to read as much as you possibly can within a 24-hour period from the moment you wake up, and we're drinking coffee first, so after the coffee, until you call it quits for the end of the day and go to bed. So last year for HRCYED 1.0, you had to read a certain number of books, or a certain number of pages basically, within the 24-hour period, and I failed twice. So this new version is something I think I can succeed at, and hopefully with the books that I've chosen, I'll actually, make some good progress. But we'll talk about our books in a minute. We have to have coffee first. Okay, so we're going to be doing 45-15s, so we'll be doing 45-minute sprints, and we'll take 15-minute breaks in it, and then every once in a while we'll do a longer break sprint, and that's our plan. Let's tell you about the books that we're going to read. What are you reading today during your sprint, Jordan?
So today I will be starting Bury Our Bones in the Midnight Soil
By
V.E. Schwab.
And have you read anything else by her that you liked before?
Yes, I read The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue. And the writing was spectacular, so I'm very excited to get into this. I've also heard a lot about toxic lesbian relationship, so we'll see.
Perfect! Okay, what are you going to be reading, Shar?
I'm reading Crazy Rich Asians. I DNF'd my other book.
And Amy's been pushing her to read this.
Yes, Amy has. Very, very much so.
Happy September 1st, the first day of spooky season. In the Philippines, Christmas starts now.
Yeah! I love it. Jordan's going to murder her. Jordan's wearing her skull sweater. You've been waiting for fall forever.
Yes,
She has.
I have 3 shorter books that I do need to read, and I was thinking, might as well make these ones work for my 24-hour readathon as much as I possibly can. So if I can get through all 3 of these, that'd be awesome. So the first one is The Unworthy by Augustina Bazterrica, and this is a horror cultish book, which I'm very excited about. I've had it for a long time. This is an ARC. Where did I get this ARC? Oh, I won it from Goodreads. So I'm really excited about this because I really like Augustina Bazterrica's writing, and so I've waited too long because it's out. I should have read it before it came out. And then my friend Margaret Pernard wrote Orla Rafferty Seeks Her Fortune, and I'm also excited to finally read my friend's writing. And then finally, I have a graphic novel. So this one should definitely be doable. Everything is Okay by Debbie Tung. And this one will be all about depression and anxiety. I've heard really good things about this page from Pages with Paige. She was talking about this and how much she loved it. So I think this will be a hard but good read. It's a memoir about Debbie Tung. So this is all about her own experience. I think I'm not going to start with this one because this will be a good one for when I'm feeling a little like, I can't, I need a break. So it's either between these two. Am I feeling more horror or historical fiction? I think because we're camping, I'm feeling more horror. So I think I might be starting with that. Plus, we're getting into the spooky season. Now that it's September 1st, I'm accepting that summer is over. It's been hard. Jordan keeps trying to push it, and I'm like, no, it's not over yet. Until his kids are in school, I'm not done with summer yet, but I guess it's time now. Okay, so yeah, I'm going to start with The Unworthy by Augustina, and I'll let you know what I think once I get into it. And we'll tell you what Mom's reading once she gets out here. She's making a big carafe of coffee because she's a savior.
I started reading The Silent Patients by Alex Michaelides, and Amy read it and recommended it to me. I've only read to page 12, but the writing's good. I like it. I keep reading it. So I'm excited about this one. And then Amy just picked this up at the library for $1 or something. And it was sitting in the car, and I was sitting in the car while the girls were shopping. Started reading it. So I'm on this one's a faster read. I'm on page 24. It's Allie Hazelwood's Problematic Summer Romance. And it's actually good too. I like her books. Easy read, fun. She's kind of crazy.
It's the second in a series, right?
Well, it doesn't seem like it.
It is, technically.
Technically, but it just seems to be these two people's book. It's not mentioning anybody that sounds like you should have known him from beforehand. So I don't know who's in the first book. I think I can read it standalone. I'm going to.
She's going to. Which one are you going to start on this morning first?
I need a light read.
We're getting ready to start our very first sprint. Everybody's clearly prepared. Jordan and I are.
Stop. Oh, no.
Okay, so I got to share the first sentence of this. It says, someone is screaming in the dark. I hope it's Lourdes. I put cockroaches in her pillow and sewed up the slip, so they struggle to get out. So they crawl under her head or over her face and into her ears, I hope, nesting there. The nymphs damaging her brain. Yeah, this is going to be fun.
I finished the prologue. I also finished the first chapter. It's good so far. It's good so far. It's about Asians. So far, it's the introduction to the young family and now meeting Rachel Chu and Nick.
So far, I don't know quite what to make of this. We're getting the perspective from this young girl who's part of the cult. It sounds like it's like the end of the world. It's post-apocalyptic, and the atmosphere on the planet is not doing well. The sun is not really shining. It's very cold. The air is not purified. They're in this cult, this House of the Sacred Sisterhood, and there's these different levels. So you've got the Unworthy, which our main character is the Unworthy. Which means that they're not part of the enlightened at this point. The chosens are like the full auras, the diaphanous spirits, and the minor chosens. And each of these three are separated into like what they're most successful at. And then other parts of them are mutilated because of it. So like if you're a diaphanous spirit, your hearing drums are perforated. You're focused on reading the signs of the chosen, of the gods, of what have you. And then you've got the enlightened, and they don't get mutilated at all, but they're the ones that are like the most preferred, the enlightened. They're able to see God directly, and God is actually this person that doesn't show himself to all the women. He hides behind the screen, and the only people that are allowed to see him are the enlightened. And as you can imagine, I'm sure that this is some dude who's just taking advantage of a situation, started a cult, and now has all these women who think they are following the word of God for him, and that he's taking advantage of all of them. And so far, already you can tell that it's a pretty gruesome situation, because a lot of these girls just love the idea of torture. They have to make sacrifices all the time, and I think it's because they're all in this traumatic experience, and they believe all these things to be true for them to become enlightened. So all these things have to happen. They have to punish themselves, they have to punish each other, they have to do all these things to have this sense of enlightenment. And the way she describes it in the story is very like otherworldly and incredible. I see the light of this floor. It's coming out of her head. You can see the celestial light coming from her. It's interesting the way that our main character is writing her journal and writing about all these things, but then there's little sections that are crossed out, like little observations that she's making that are kind of negative, and she crosses those out. And then there was one part where she's like, I'm trying to write this journal so that I don't forget who I was before, basically before she came to this sisterhood and the world came to an end, or is coming to an end. And they all get different names when they come to the sisterhood. So they're supposed to forget who they were and release all their sins and their disgusting who they were before they came to the sisterhood. So that's where we're at so far. It's very much written very poetically. So some of it you have to like, I've got to give it a little bit of time before I understand exactly what they're talking about. Underneath, there's this very definite undercurrent of trauma and the realization that there's really horrible things happening to these poor women, these poor girls. Oh, I'm using up a good portion of our break time.
Hi, I have read to page 48 of Problematic Summer Romance, and we're in the problem part where she has a crush on her brother's best friend. He's 14 years older than her. I think he feels like she's just a kid, and she's had this crush on him for years. So they're at her brother's wedding, and it's problematic that she has to be there with this guy that she has a crush on, and he doesn't have a crush on her. So that's where I'm at.
Okay, so I've read up to page 40, and in the beginning we meet Maria in 1521. She's a young girl. She lives kind of on the edge of a town, and apparently her father had passed away. She has older brothers, and they're kind of taking charge of her. Her mother doesn't like the color of her hair, which is bright red, and she tries to darken it when she's young. It skips forward maybe 10 years, I think. She's a grown woman at the time. There's a caravan that comes into town, and she brings this guy away. You know, at the time, you have to get married. So apparently the next thing you know, her brother's like, you need to come home. She comes home, and this man is like, oh, you are now my betrothed. She's happy about all this. She planned it herself by leading him away and egging him on. And then her family's really happy because at the time, you know, it's all about what you can marry into and what you can get from it. Then the book skips forward in another chapter, and it's 2019. We meet Alice, who is now in college. She's 18, and she is anxious, and she's currently at a party where she doesn't feel comfortable. It seems like maybe she doesn't always feel comfortable, and she has to remind herself, you know, it's just a party. We're going to be confident. We're going to be relaxed. We're going to go out there and do it. And so she's in the bathroom. She's telling herself all this in the mirror. And she's like, when I go out there, I'm going to give myself an hour. I'm going to be so confident. And as she steps outside of the bathroom, she's in a bedroom. So she steps outside of the bathroom, and there's a girl sitting on the bed, just lounging, relaxing, apparently looking gorgeous. And she stares at her, and she's like, in her mind, she's like, oh my God, art, beauty. And so she lets this girl go through into the bathroom, and then she walks out into the party, super confident, takes a couple hits of a smoke, and then she slams a couple shots, and then she's feeling good. And she sits against this wall, and she starts kind of getting lightheaded. And apparently this girl who she saw in the bedroom is right there, and she holds her shoulders, and then she's, sorry. And then all of a sudden she's like, do you want to dance? And so they're dancing, and then a fire alarm goes off, and they run out into the street, and the mysterious girl is gone. And then she's standing in the street reminiscing from when she was young. Apparently bikers come, not bikers, I like bikes, but a bunch of bikes come, and it's this girl, her name is Lottie. She pulls her out of the street, and then she takes her to Alice's house. So she takes her to Alice's house. She's like, well, are you going to invite me in? And then they go upstairs and do what people do at parties when they're in college. And so right now, at this moment, Lottie has woken up. Alice is still sleeping, and Lottie just slipped out the door after leaving a little note. And that's where we are.
Okay, 15 minutes might be too quick. But we each got our bag of these Irish potato chips. They're garlic butter and they're so good. And I got everybody in their own bag because they're small.
Yes.
And, you know.
She's not sharing.
Not sharing. That's exactly what it was. Tell us about the mosquito, Shar.
Yeah. Tell us your favorite part
Well,
of camping.
see, they love me, and it's too much. It's overwhelming. It's overwhelming because now they're like this,
Oh, yeah.
and then like this.
Yeah.
It's okay. It's part of camping. I'm happy to be here. I finished the second chapter. I had to reread it twice because I didn't understand.
Sucks. Because it's cold.
What had happened was I was confused because I was like, oh, women make investments too. So I had to keep going back to the beginning of the book to look at the chart. And I was like, oh, okay, so Eleanor married into the Young family. And that's what I had to put together.
You ready, little alien Santa girl?
Ready for what?
Just to stay warm?
Yeah.
Let's see your socks. Oh, yeah. You got some. Oh, those are wool.
And look at,
Oh, yep.
I'm winterized.
Okay, so we're at the 11 o'clock break, and I have made it not very far because it's taken. This writing is definitely hard to get into because it is really the thoughts of this girl who's part of this cult. So I'll give you an example of the current paragraph I'm on. Now I breathe the cold air in the desolate kitchen, an icy cold like the tip of a needle. Now a cockroach twitches its legs and antennae trapped in a jar. It's dark red and I think it's beautiful because of the perfect repugnance it rouses in me. It's a small work of living art. How long will it survive without oxygen? To seize the ephemeral, savor it. I look at the veins in my left wrist. To purify. And so that's like what I'm up against. And so it's not a quick read because I'm trying to like understand how that fits into what's going on and to then also try to read between the lines because we're clearly looking at things from this girl's perspective and she is a faithful girl to this cult. And of course you can also tell that she has had situations that have happened in the past where she was not faithful in certain ways. She didn't get punished for it. She had to punish someone else for it. But like she's holding on to that guilt and she realizes there's something wrong here and she doesn't remember her past before she came to this cult, but she knows that there's something there that's dark and that she can't remember. And of course, there's also something very dark happening within this cult. She aspires to enlightenment. They don't want each other to find enlightenment because they want to be the first ones to get enlightenment. But I guarantee you enlightenment's not going to be what she's hoping it's going to be. But I don't think she knows what she thinks it's going to be. It's definitely a tricky read. And so I'm currently on page 44 and just continuing to make progress. There's definitely moments where I'm like, ugh, because there's some pretty visual graphic things that happen. There's a lot of torture that happens in this, at least so far. So Jordan's giving me a look like, ugh, torture?
All right. I'm on page 86 and I feel for Maria. I feel for her. She was married off. I don't even know this dude's name. He's the Viscount. And he treats her like crap, which I think we all knew anyway. But I think the toxicity they talk about in this book is based on that. And I feel it. It's gross. Anyway, he treats her like, you're mine. You can only do what I say. You only go where I say you can go. You have to stay within the gates. You can't leave. Meanwhile, he leaves every day. So Maria's at home in 18... Let's be honest, I don't know. Anyway, he leaves every day. And then while she's home, she met her maid. And the maid was playing cards. And so she asked to learn how to play. And so they'd spend their days playing cards and just having a good time, dancing around, becoming really fast friends while her husband's off doing whatever the heck he's doing. And then one day he's like, we're gonna have a party for our marriage. And she's like, oh, wonderful. And then when everyone shows up and she's all dressed up in her gown. He walks her around, but every time she tries to speak, to say welcome or anything, he squeezes her arm. So he's saying, just be seen. Don't talk, just be seen. So her life has been just doing whatever he wants her to. And then one day, while his parents, who came to the party, while they're there, he gets a summons and he's like, I'll be gone for a while. She's like, oh, how sad. Thinking about all this time she'll have with her maid. Her husband's like, oh, you're not staying here. You'll be going with my parents tomorrow. And then speed forward and she's been there for 2 years. And of course, they don't like her because they're assholes. You can cut that out, right?
It's fine.
Oh, good. Anyway, the story flips back and forth between this 1800s and then 2019 with Alice. And so since Alice's night with that girl that she met at the party, Lottie, since that night, it was just the next day. The whole chapter on her was just the next day and how her head's pounding. This is the worst hangover she's ever had since everything she did. And slowly she's remembering little things. And then she goes outside to get some fresh air. So it's a little slow going on that end. But on the other side, I hate the Viscount and his family. Apparently this one jumped ship.
I'm so tired.
Is that book somehow absorbing into your brain?
It's good, yeah.
Osmosis.
Over there.
Right here.
Yep, there's one.
The
the other?
down there.
Here's some of the other snacks we have. We got ube pretzels. We've got these that nobody really likes. They're strawberry soft licorice twists. These that I really like, and they're almost gone. Fruit gummies. Then there's these snacky clusters that have like chips and corn chips and pretzel bites in the chocolate. And they're good. They're just really savory. And then figs. Whoa. Because we like figs. Yummy, yummy. Hey, you gonna take a turn reading? Hey, you gonna take a turn reading? You gonna read for me for a little bit? All right, we are on lunch break. So we're heading into the house to get some lunch and take a...
Are you allowed to do all these breaks on her kid?
Yes, you are.
We can eat.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're taking a 30-minute break and then we're gonna get back to reading. I think Char reached max coldness.
It's not even burr months yet.
Oh no, you're not gonna survive the winter. Winter's coming.
Month. It's September 1st now.
Yeah.
Well, I'm at page 167.
It's about we're getting close to 1:30.
A little backstory. The main character is a physicist.
Okay.
And she's like 23. She's got a mad crush on her brother's best friend who also owns a business together, and he's 35 maybe. He's older and he keeps trying to push her off that, she's too young. And the story kind of jumped back and forth to a time when he rescued her from an ex that ended up screwing around with her roommate. He goes and he pretends like he's her boyfriend to, kind of negate everything. And now we're years later where her brother's getting married and they've run into each other, and I think there's some sparks flying. I'm already on page 167. It's a really fast read, and it's fun to read. And it's light and fun and not heavy duty like the one Amy's reading. I keep hearing her gasp, so it must be scary.
Okay, so it's about 1:30 in the afternoon, and I'm about halfway, 70 pages in. Wishful thinking. Yeah, no, and I don't know how I'm feeling about this. It's definitely a difficult read as far as, not content, there's difficult subject matter that is very subtly being alluded to, but I feel like it's a pretty slow-paced story as far as the plot and how we're learning different things from this young girl's perspective. I think I'm going to put this down for a minute and pick up my graphic novel because I need something a little more this isn't going to be lighthearted because it talks about depression and anxiety, but it'll be an easier read, which is kind of what I need because I've been spending all morning trying to work through this one. Okay, so I have been reading Everything Is Okay, and look at that. I am 2/3 of the way done. Yeah. So this is following the journey through understanding her mental health, depression, and anxiety, but then also in getting help with the things that she needs help with and being able to ask for help, and then to understanding more about not just her anxiety and depression, but also about herself and accepting herself for how she is and trying to live a life that makes the most sense for her. And it's not really told in story form. It's sort of told in pages that say, like, this one says, I have no idea what I'm doing. Well, I've got news for you. Nobody knows what they're doing. And each little section kind of goes and tells a little bit about what her experiences at this time of her progress through understanding herself. It's a very quick and easy read, and it's just got some really great things that, you know, a lot of this my own therapist has talked to me about. And I was reading a section to Jordan and I was like, oh, that's definitely something I've done many a times. So it's one of these graphic novels that just kind of gives you like little tidbits that sometimes it's really helpful to be able to think about. I think that's also really helpful for people who have not sought any therapy or help with their mental health, and maybe encourages people to then take that next step, because it is very helpful. Even if, and this was kind of like the section that I read, like you go to the therapist and you're worried, like, my problems aren't as big as other people's problems, or I just feel like this is silly because it's such a small thing. It doesn't matter what your struggles are or how big or small they are. All that matters is how they matter to you and how they affect your feelings in your own life. So that is an important thing to think about, because I think a lot of people just go, oh, well, it's not that bad. I don't really need to go to therapy, even though that's not how therapy is meant to work. I will be done with this in the next sprint, and then I'll probably get back to The Unworthy.
Okay, I'm on page 187. It's been a wild ride. I'm starting to figure out all the little stuff that I missed. So it turns out that there, so far, are 2 stories. Both are coming-of-age stories. I don't want to give too much away, but I assume that anyone who picks up this book already knows that there's vampires in it. If not, I'm sorry, I just gave that away. So it's 2 coming-of-age stories from 2 different vampires. And when we go back to Maria's story, a lot has happened. I don't want to give a bunch away, but it's good. And then going to Alice, she's having trouble. She's having trouble, but she's learning. She's learning really slow. I don't want to give too much away, especially since this is a newer book. So imagine coming of age. Imagine very bad marriage in the beginning, way back in the 1800s. And then imagine not knowing what's going on when you become a vampire. And that's all I got for now, because I don't know how to talk without giving more information away.
Hi. Okay, so I'm reading Crazy Rich Asians, and I made it chapter 14. I made it chapter 14. And so far, I realized as I was reading that I made it like past like looking at the wealth of the family, more so looking at like, oh, like this is just like a regular family with societal issues, and like what's happening and the dynamics that they have is kind of normal. And I guess it's because it's a little bit like, it's kind of pretty relatable to how, I'll just use my family example, how my family kind of sort of like operates, but not as intense. I do think it's boring. And I think it's because it's kind of like a norm for me, where it's just, okay, like it's just, yeah, like another regular family. However, I do love the movie. And I think with the movie, I love the extravagance of how they put everything together. But even in the movie, like you could just tell like, oh, this is just like how the mom is, and how Nick is kind of just closed off about his family. And then like, yeah, I don't want to like say too much, but it's just kind of like, oh, I see and I get it. It just makes a lot of sense. That's it.
Okay, so it turns out I wasn't going to get that book done during that last sprint because I was going to take a nap instead. I just completely fell asleep. I was in the tent and I was relaxing and I was reading and reading and reading, and then I couldn't stay awake any longer. So I'm a little bit further than I was in the last sprint, but not that much further. So this next sprint, hopefully, I'll finish that graphic novel, then move back to The Unworthy. sinking. Why are you sinking? Oh, that's that. Wasn't it higher before? Okay, so camping trip is officially over, and we had a great time, and we really read continuously. So for me, what I completed, I still have to keep going tonight because I have to do a full 24 hours. But what I completed during our whole camping trip, and I wonder how many hours we didn't count. Didn't figure out how many hours that was.
You went to 5:15, so there's something you started at 9 to 5. 9 to 5. Working 9 to 5. 8:15. Because we had 9:15? Yeah, we had breakfast. Well, no. It was 8:15. 9 was when we had our first break. Our first break. Because I went to the pool. I'm keeping that in.
8 something to 5 something, and then we took 15-minute breaks in here and there. But sometimes we read through the breaks. Sometimes we took breaks during our 45-minute sprints. It was not consistent, but it was still a great time, and we got a lot of reading done. So for me, I started out by reading The Unworthy, and then I needed to take a break from it. But I got back to it after finishing Everything is Okay by Debbie Tung. And this one, I think I'm going to give a 4-star to for what it is. It was enjoyable. I thought it was really important, the messaging in this, and I think it's very useful book to just kind of visit every once in a while when you're feeling low. Also for people who are not getting the help that they need for mental health. So I think this is a really easy, accessible resource that I think is really important for people to be able to use. And it's really good to hear her experience and, you know, of course, to understand that we all go through things like this. So there's that. So I finished that completely. And then I got back to The Unworthy and I made it to page 100 exactly. So I'm a little over halfway and I'm going to keep working on this tonight and maybe I can get that finished tonight, I think. So that's my goal for the rest of the evening, and that's all the progress I made. That's pretty good. 100 pages and the graphic novel for me, that's pretty darn good. Nice. Okay, who's next?
Woo. Problematic Summer Romance. Good book, probably giving it a 4. I only have a few pages left, but we had to break down the camp. So I will finish that within the next 15 minutes or so, and it was fun.
All right, I made it to page 266, which is just over halfway, I guess. Anyway, we're not going to worry about that. Really wonderful book. This is Bury My Bones Beneath the Midnight Soil. Bury Our Bones Beneath the Midnight Soil. And again, it is that coming of age, but I found that one of our main characters finds people along her path who then helps to teach her how her new life works, which I thought was amazing. I really like it so far. I'm sure it's going to have a very interesting ending. I don't see what the ending could be.
Shh, quiet out there.
Fantastic.
Yeah, I took care of it for you.
Thank you. My goodness. Anyway, absolutely loved it. Camping was amazing. Love the snacks. I would say I give it, because of the writing itself, a 4, but I'll give it a 4.5 because I really like the story.
You're so cute.
Hi.
Hi. So I'm reading Crazy Rich Asians, and after the last time I was on here explaining about how it was just like a regular Asian family, after page 120 it started to get more interesting. So now it's going more into like the story of like their love story and meeting the family. I am a little flustered of how feelings are not being taken into consideration of the characters. So it's a little frustrating. The book and the movie are pretty different, and I do love the movie a lot, but I want to finish this book just to see how it ends and how it goes. I feel like I would predict a 3.
Bye. See you next time.
But I'll see you soon for an update. We had so much fun. It's been just such a great weekend in general. We had a lot of fun yesterday. We had a lot of fun just spending time with cousins.
And shopping and camping and eating.
Yeah, and all the stuff.
And
so.
even a little crafting. We all did a little crafting.
George did a little crafting, and Shar did some coloring.
Yes.
I did.
And Mom organized the stuff that she bought.
Yeah.
And I tried to get another book done last night before we started this, and I didn't. So
That's okay.
I read a lot of it though.
Yay.
Yay!
Hooray!
Yay.
Okay, it's 9:45 and I have officially finished The Unworthy by Augustina Bazterrica. And I have no clue how I want to rate this, but I know that I am tired and I'm ready to go to sleep. I am officially ending my 24-hour readathon for HRCYED, and I feel like it was pretty darn successful because I got this book done, 174 pages, and I got this graphic novel completed, 200 and something. About a 190 page graphic novel. So I feel pretty successful with my 24-hour readathon. I know that it's not necessarily the same as last year's HRCYED 1.0, but this is a lot more realistic for me. And it really was a good dent into the beginning of my September TBR because I finished 2 books off my September TBR. Okay, so it's been a couple of days and I think I'm ready to give a final review of The Unworthy by Augustina Bazterrica, but I'm still having a hard time really deciding on how I feel about this book, like what my level of enjoyment was for this one. And I think that's because the other things I have read by Augustina Bazterrica, I felt like were very clear how much I enjoyed or didn't enjoy them. And this one was a little more complex. In a lot of the relaying of this girl's experience, I was kind of waiting for things to happen. I felt like there were a lot of times where we're building a scene, we're building a situation, we're understanding more about a little bit about her background, about her experiences and stuff like that. But I was just waiting for the horror to come out, you know, waiting for an understanding of what really is happening. And of course, when you find out what's really happening in the long run, it's not surprising at all. You knew about it. I knew about it the whole time. And while I was reading this during the readathon, I needed a break from it, you know, because it was pretty complex. It took me a while. It wasn't like an easy, quick read where I could just like this. This was a very easy, quick read. And like a romance or like a mystery or like most other, you know, books where it's a lot more straightforward. This was not straightforward. And I feel like that's okay because I don't necessarily always want that in a book, but I needed to put it down and try something different at the time. The thing is, the whole time I was reading this, I was thinking about how I wanted to get back to this. And that was a strange feeling considering I wasn't sure how much I was actually enjoying this. So there was this need in me to get back to this because I thought maybe like, well, when I finish this, maybe I should just start the Margaret Pernard book because I didn't know if I wanted to continue on with this. Not ever, but at that moment during my readathon. And yet I just kept thinking about this and kept thinking about this. And it took up a lot of brain space. And I did think about it quite a bit as I was reading it, thinking about it in depth. And then of course, after I read it too, I was thinking a lot about what was going on with these girls' situations, young women's situations, what was going on within this whole story. I love Augustina Bazterrica's writing. I really love her perspective as a writer. I just think she's brilliant in a lot of ways. And I really like the way she handles horror. And so inevitably, no matter what, no matter how I feel about this book, I will read more from this author. I'll probably read anything this author comes out with because I'm just fascinated by the work of this author. So there's that. I am like, is it a 3.75? Is it a 4-star? I don't know. Did I like it? What did I get out of this? I don't know. It's a post-apocalyptic world, and we do go back and learn a lot more about her experience before coming to this convent, becoming part of this crazed religion that is really just not a religion. It's this sanctuary of sorts for people who are trying to get away from what is happening in the outside world. It's not really a sanctuary. It's a brainwashing, dangerous place to be. I don't think that's spoilery because I think you can kind of get that from the synopsis. You can kind of understand that that's what this story is all about. I really think the depth of this story is from learning more about her past and learning more about what kind of person she is and what kind of person she's become based on her history and the things she's experienced, and then now how that makes her what she is today. And of course, then the relationships she's created along the way and how that affects her in this whole process and through not only being part of this convent, but also being in a world that has fallen apart, completely fallen apart. So it's a very strange and interesting book. I would like to reread it again at some time in the future. I don't think it's one of those books that should be read quickly. So for the purposes of this 24-hour experiment, this 24-hour readathon, this maybe wasn't the best choice for it. It needed a little more thought, a little more time. And I think that's why I kept wanting to come back to it, because there was a part of me that really wanted to explore it more, but I had to explore it kind of quickly. And it's not that kind of book. And so if I read this in the future, maybe I would enjoy it even more because I could give it time and really think about the writing and think about what the author's trying to put across with this story, because, you know, this author put this story together in the way that she did for a reason. And I typically really like thinking about how this author is thinking. And so I would like to try it again in the future. So I will keep this, I will hold on to it.
So I finished Problematic Summer Romance, and I'm going to give it a 4.
I liked it. I read the whole thing through and didn't want to put it down. I really like Allie Hazelwood's writing, especially the fact that she always has scientists in there. My daughter's a scientist, so that's kind of cool. They show that scientists are regular people too. Great book. I recommend it.
All right, so that's it for my 24-hour readathon vlog and our camping trip. It was a lot of fun. We had such a great time, and we really did spend most of that time just sitting there reading, which is a very interesting experience because a lot of time when the four of us get together, we just chat a lot. We say we're gonna read and then we just chat a lot. And we actually did read continuously, and we did take little breaks and stuff here and there, but we really made a lot of time for reading, which was nice because we were able to actually read while spending time together as opposed to just chatting and chatting. And it was fun to chat about the books with each other and just get one final camping trip in before the end of summer. It was a lovely time and a great use of our backwoods, really was. Let me know in the comment section down below if you're doing a 24-hour readathon, what kind of book would you pick? I was going for shorter books, hence the graphic novel and the novellas. If I were doing it again, I would pick short books, but maybe romances or mysteries, something that was a lot easier, or an author I know writes in a way that I can read through really quickly. But I still don't regret the choices that I made at all. So if you like this video, give it a big thumbs up and subscribe so you can see what happens. I don't know. Next time I do something for HRCYED. I should have my August update for HRCYED coming up next week, so stay tuned for that. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you later.